The Banana Email Incident. Banana. Part 1 of 5. I never expected a fruit to nearly destroy my career. It started on a random Wednesday, the kind of day that smells like burnt coffee and regret. I work in a big corporate tech company. Not one of the sexy startups with beanbags and kombucha on tap, more like endless Teams calls and 30 Slack channels you're scared to mute. I'm a junior product analyst. Translation: I live in spreadsheets, die in meetings, and nobody remembers my name unless I mess something up. The company is, let's say, culture heavy. We've got theme days, wellness challenges, Slack emojis for every department, and a CEO who once gave a TED Talk called Fail Forward Like a Champion. HR sends weekly emails with subject lines like, empathy is the new KPI. Anyway, on that fateful Wednesday, I was running on 4 hours of sleep and 2 lukewarm cups of instant coffee. My brain was hanging on by a thread and a half a granola bar. I had just come out of a 90-minute meeting about whether our app's new button should be rounder, when I got a Slack message from Rachel in HR. Hey Jason! Quick favor, can you send an internal memo welcoming our new hires? Super casual, just fun and light. Maybe something personal to break the ice. I was. Jason. That's me. Definitely not qualified for morale-boosting memos, but I'd already dodged 3 messages from Rachel this week, so I just replied. Sure thing. Big mistake. Now, here's where the banana comes in. I typed up a quick email. Friendly tone. A little quirky. I wanted it to feel human, you know? I added a dumb joke I'd seen on Reddit at 2 a.m. the night before. Welcome to the team! Pro tip, never leave your lunch unattended in the break room. Someone once stole my banana and left a note that just said thanks, I needed this emotionally. Still not over it. I hit send. It went out to the entire company. Not just new hires. Not just our team. Everyone. Including the C-suite. Including the board. Including Susan, our CFO who once threatened to fire someone for using Comic Sans. I realized my mistake about 5 seconds after hitting send. My face went cold. My stomach fell into my knees. I checked the to field, yep, it said. All employees. 2,864 people. Incredible. At first, nothing happened. Then the replies started. The first one was from Jenna in legal. LOL. Is the banana thief still at large? Then Carlos from DevOps. I feel this on a spiritual level. Then, weirdly, the CEO replied, directly to me. Jason, let's chat. Got 15 minutes? You know that moment when your soul briefly leaves your body to go scream into the void? That happened. Right there. At my desk. In full open floor plan view. I messaged Rachel in HR. I think I just got myself fired. She replied with 3 wide-eyed emojis and then stopped responding. I walked to the CEO's office like I was heading to my own execution. The halls felt longer. The air thicker. Every step echoed like a drumbeat of doom. The CEO's name is Gordon. Big guy. Looks like someone who meditates daily but also wrestles bears recreationally. His office smells like sandalwood and money. He looked up from his laptop and said deadpan. So, the banana thing. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. You sent that to everyone. I nodded, mentally calculating how long I could live off my savings. For weeks. Maybe 5 if I started living on rice and instant noodles. Then he chuckled. Jason, do you know how many onboarding messages I've seen in my life? I shook my head. Thousands. All terrible. Dry. Robotic. Yours? I read it twice. I laughed. And then, get this, I forwarded it to the board. Wait. What? We've been trying to find a way to humanize our internal comms. You accidentally just did it. He leaned back in his chair, hands behind his head like a villain in a Pixar movie. Tell me, Jason, you ever think about writing? I blinked. Like, professionally? He nodded. We've got a new initiative. Internal storytelling. Employee voice. Authenticity. I want you on it. I sat there stunned. I had walked into this office expecting a pink slip and walked out with a new title. By the end of the week, I was officially the company's new employee experience writer, which I think is just a fancy way of saying guy who makes newsletters slightly less awful. And to this day, people still message me with banana emojis. Rachel from HR now opens every call with, "So, emotionally, do you need a banana?" Part 2, The Coffee Machine Rebellion. Getting promoted by accident is a weird experience. It's like tripping into a secret room and being told you now live there. A week after the Great Banana Email incident, I found myself sitting in meetings with people whose last names matched conference rooms. My email signature now included the word strategic. I still didn't know what I was doing. My new job? Employee experience writer. Which, as it turns out, means make corporate culture seem like something people didn't learn to dread. I was tasked with humanizing internal communications, building emotional rapport, and I kid you not, capturing the soul of the company in newsletters. No pressure. The first assignment came from a VP named Elliot, who always looked like he was trying to outstare a hawk. "Write something engaging about the new office coffee machine," he said. "Make people care." I stared at him. Surely he was joking. He wasn't. He even sent a 12-page PDF titled, "Been There, Brewed That, A Guide to the New Caffeine Ecosystem." So, yeah? I had to write a compelling, heartfelt message about the arrival of a coffee machine. I walked into the break room to inspect the sacred device. It was sleek. Stainless steel. Touchscreen. It made 12 different kinds of coffee, plus something called Macchiato Plus, which sounded like it required a blood sacrifice. It had a cup warmer. A cup warmer. I took a photo of it. Then I took a photo of myself looking reverent in front of it. Caption: "When your new coworker is hotter than you." That was the start of the chaos. The next morning, I wrote a playful little email. Subject line: hot beverage. It brews. It shines. It judges your K-cups. Body: meet the new office hero, Caffeinata 9000. She's hot, powerful, and gives zero tolerance for decoff. Available now in Break Room B. Bring your mug and your hopes. Don't bring hazelnut syrup. She hates that. I added a selfie of me holding a mug and giving a solemn thumbs up. I sent it. It went viral. Internally. Within 2 hours, it had 300 emoji reactions, including a custom one someone made of my face in a coffee cup. I started getting emails. From tech support. "This is the most engagement we've had since the cybersecurity breach." From facilities. "There's a line outside Break Room B. What have you done?" From Elliot. "Need to talk. Urgent." I went to his office. He was holding his phone. "We're getting reports of tension between departments." I blinked. "What kind of tension?" "Apparently, only marketing and HR are allowed to use the new machine. Finance is upset. Engineering is threatening to bring in their own espresso rig. There's a spreadsheet circulating ranking coffee access by seniority." He paused. "You triggered a caffeine class war." The next day, a group from sales wheeled in their own Keurig and started a turf war in Break Room A. Someone from legal wrote a parody cease and desist letter against coffee elitism. IT posted a meme of a Civil War reenactment captioned, "When cold brew divides a company." I tried to fix it. I wrote a second email. "In the spirit of unity and caffeine, let us remember, all coffee is valid. Whether brewed, pressed, or from that one sketchy vending machine on floor 5. We rise and grind, together." I thought it was noble. Touching, even. The CEO replied with, "Beautiful. Almost cried. Let's meet." I panicked. Again. Turns out Gordon, the CEO, loved the drama. "You made coffee interesting," he said. "Do you know how many initiatives we've launched that no one cared about? You made this one viral. People are talking. We can build on this. I asked. Are you endorsing the caffeine war? He grinned. Jason, we're a tech company. If no one's mildly mad at a thing, it means no one noticed it. I left that meeting with a raise. A literal raise. Over a coffee meme. On Monday, HR launched a new initiative. Caffeine Without Borders. They credited it to me. There were stickers. Mugs. A poster of the coffee machine with my face on it that said, "Brewed to Lead." My mom put it on her fridge. That week, people started calling me the Brew Prophet. Someone made a Slack bot that sent motivational coffee quotes in my name. I had absolutely no control over it. One morning I opened my laptop and saw, "Rise, grind, and caffeinate thy destiny, Jason, 9:14 a.m. Even weirder, I got invited to speak at the next all hands. Me. The guy who nuked a child's belief in Santa just weeks earlier. The guy whose crowning professional moment involved a latte pun. I tried to decline. Gordon wouldn't hear of it. "Jason," he said, smiling like a proud sitcom dad, "you gave this place something it forgot how to have, fun." Great. Now I was fun. I walked back to my desk. The coffee machine hissed like it approved. Part 3: The Emoji Policy Scandal. If you told me 3 months ago that my biggest workplace controversy would involve a latte machine and some cartoon faces, I would have laughed. Or cried. Or both. But here we are. After the coffee machine saga, my legend, a word I use loosely, grew legs. HR started calling me for creative input. People in the office winked at me in the hallway like I was running some kind of underground culture revolution. Someone printed a poster of me in a Che Guevara hat with the caption, "Viva la Java!" That was the peak. Or so I thought. Then came the emoji update. It started innocently. We were switching internal comms platforms from Slack to some corporate Frankenstein called Connect Now. Our department heads wanted to streamline engagement and optimize asynchronous empathy. Translation: the news system sucked. No one could find their files. Notifications were broken. The only thing that worked flawlessly? The emoji reactions. You'd think they'd let us have that, right? Wrong. On a random Thursday morning, legal dropped a bombshell memo. Effective immediately, all employees must limit emoji usage to standardized sets. No custom emojis. No suggestive or ambiguous symbols. No reactions on official memos. Cue the collective. Are you serious? Across 5 floors. I was mid-coffee when I got pinged by Hannah from design. Please tell me you're doing something about this. Then Nate from dev chimed in. They killed my dancing toaster emoji. This is war. And then, the straw that broke the mug, they removed CaffeJason. That's right. The custom emoji someone had made of my face in a latte swirl. Gone. Vaporized by legal compliance. I wasn't planning on leading a rebellion. Honestly. But when someone vandalized the office bulletin board with a giant sad face and the words, "When joy is regulated, caffeine can't fix it," I felt responsible. So I did what any rational adult would do in 2024. I wrote a fake official memo. Subject: Emoji Compliance Clarification. From Jason M., Employee Engagement Specialist *. The asterisk wasn't real, but it looked important. Dear colleagues, in light of recent emoji restrictions, we'd like to clarify a few things. White heavy checkmark: you may still use smiling face with smiling eyes if and only if it's followed by a comma and a neutral sentence. Crossmark smirky face is now considered legally flirty and may trigger HR workflows. Prohibited: the poop emoji, I love poo, is not allowed unless discussing plumbing incidents in facilities chat. Beverage box juice box emojis are restricted to snack channel use only. Party popper can be used during birthdays, but only if followed by per company milestone guidelines. Red heart is under review. Use at your own risk. We appreciate your emotional restraint during these times. I signed it management. Which, technically, was true now. People lost it. In a good way. Screenshots of my memo spread like wildfire. Someone added dramatic background music and turned it into a TikTok. How they got footage of me sipping coffee with slow zooms, I don't know. I choose peace. Facilities printed laminated copies of the emoji law and taped them inside every break room. The next morning, I was called into Gordon's office again. This time, I knocked first. Jason, he said, barely holding in a laugh. Are you running an underground satire newsletter? I blinked. Depends. Am I in trouble? He spun his laptop and showed me his wallpaper, my fake memo, framed in gold Comic Sans. Trouble? You're a brand now. I didn't know what to say. So I said, cool. By the end of the week, IT restored Cafejason as a cultural heritage emoji. HR hosted a digital expression roundtable. I was on the panel. My job title quietly changed again, this time to narrative culture strategist. I still have no idea what that means. But my desk got moved next to a window. The good kind, the ones with sunlight and plants that don't scream. Budget cactus. I took a deep breath, sipped my coffee, and saw a notification. Subject policy update, fridge etiquette. Oh no. Not the fridge. As I left Gordon's office, I passed two interns whispering and giggling behind their laptops. One of them had a sticker on her water bottle. Beverage box, Juice Box Rebellion, EST 2024. I pretended not to notice. That afternoon, I found a small envelope on my desk. Inside was a single sticky note. Thanks for fighting for the emojis. Respect. Facilities. Taped to it, a replacement Cafejason sticker. Limited edition. Holographic. I couldn't believe it. I'd become that guy. The one people look to for emotional justice, in icon form. But I was starting to realize something. Every time I leaned into the ridiculous, every time I didn't overthink it, people responded. Not because I was some genius, but because I was honest. A little chaotic, sure. But real. And in a place built on empty slogans and beige carpets, Real stood out like a confetti cannon in a funeral home. I was barely catching my breath when the next storm started brewing. The subject line said it all. Urgent, fridge clean-out policy violation, attachments included. Attachments? Oh no. It had begun. Part 4, the leftover lasagna incident spaghetti fire. If the coffee machine was a spark, and the emoji memo was gasoline, then the fridge incident? That was the explosion. Let me set the scene. It's a Monday morning. I walk into the break room and immediately sense tension. It's hard to describe, but you know when a room feels too clean? The microwave was sparkling. The counter was wiped. The usually overflowing trash can was eerily empty. And the fridge? Empty. Like hospital clean empty. Gone were the mystery yogurts, the salsa jar with no lid, the passive-aggressive post-its threatening death over almond milk. It was as if someone had performed an exorcism. I was still staring at the gleaming metal shelves when I heard it. They threw out my lasagna. I turned. It was Ben from accounting. Normally mild-mannered. The kind of guy who wears fleece vests and laughs like a polite car engine. But today? Fury. Homemade. My grandma's recipe. Labeled. Dated. In a glass container. Gone. I tried to offer condolences, but before I could say anything, another voice chimed in. They tossed my oat milk. It wasn't even expired. That was Priya from legal. And my birthday cake from Friday. Someone else yelled from the hallway. Turns out, over the weekend, facilities had done a full fridge purge. Their logic? Health and safety. Their method? Brutal. Apparently, a rogue Tupperware had leaked into the electrical outlet, triggering a short circuit. So they tossed everything. No warning. No mercy. Not even a goodbye email. By 10 a.m., #FridgeGate was trending on our internal comms. That's when I got the call. Gordon's assistant, 2 words. Handle it. I didn't even ask what it was. I already knew. So, I wrote another memo. But this time, I tried something different. Instead of jokes, I tried sincerity. Subject: in memory of the meals we lost. Dear team. Today we grieve. Not just for forgotten yogurts and half-eaten sandwiches, but for the trust we place in shared spaces, and in each other. That lasagna? It wasn't just food. It was tradition. That oat milk? A symbol of morning rituals. That birthday cake? Celebration cut short. Let this be a turning point. Let us rebuild the trust. The shelves. The dignity of our shared cold storage. Introducing the Office Fridge Bill of Rights. I attached a PDF. A very official-looking one. With full legal formatting and an embossed seal that read, "In Fridge We Trust." Highlights included: Article 1. Every lunch shall have safe and undisturbed refrigeration for no fewer than 72 hours. Article 2. All purges require a 48-hour public notice and a fridge-wide warning email. Article 3. No one shall open, taste, or judge another's leftovers. Even if it smells suspicious. Especially if it smells suspicious. People loved it. Design printed mini fridge magnets of the Bill of Rights. Ben made commemorative lasagna. He even offered samples during lunch. HR asked me to co-lead a workplace harmony workshop titled Conflict Resolution Through Shared Appliances. I now had a seat at the monthly Facilities Liaison Council. My title? Cold Storage Advocate. You can't make this stuff up. And the weirdest part? I started to enjoy it. But just as things began to settle, just as fridge peace was finally achieved, I got a new email. From Gordon. Subject line: Emergency, company retreat, need your help. Oh no. Not the retreat. That evening, I stayed late, sipping microwaved coffee in the now infamous break room. Someone had taped a black ribbon to the fridge. A printed photo of Ben's missing lasagna sat beneath it, surrounded by tea lights and a small sign. Candle. Gone, but not reheated. I smiled. The place was grieving, but laughing too. Maybe that was the real culture people craved, not fancy perks or themed Slack channels, but shared absurdity. A fridge-sized crisis that made them feel seen. Before I left, I added a small sticky note to the shrine. Justice served. Jason. As I walked out, I noticed Gordon through the glass wall of his office. He gave me a subtle thumbs up. That was the thing about him, never too many words. But somehow, it always landed. I started to wonder if he was the original memo whisperer. I passed the IT guy in the elevator, the one who first re-uploaded CafeJason, and he grinned at me. You gonna fix the retreat next? I laughed. That bad? They're making us do synchronized breathing on paddle boards. I blinked. Wait, like, over water? He nodded grimly. And the CO wants trust falls. On sand. The elevator dinged. We stepped out in silence. Well, looks like the next mission was already waiting. Part 5. The off-site awakening, camping face with open mouth dashing away. The company retreat was held at a rustic luxury campground 2 hours outside the city. Translation: it had Wi-Fi, composting toilets, and enough mosquitoes to declare sovereignty. We arrived in branded shuttle buses. Each seat had a welcome packet, an herbal sleep mask, and a handwritten affirmation card. Mine read, "You are more than your job title," which would have been touching if it hadn't been smudged by a leaky eucalyptus oil sachet. We were told to unplug, reset, reconnect. What that actually meant was 6 a.m. sunrise yoga, silent nature walks with reflection partners, evening drum circles optional, but heavily implied otherwise, and, of course, trust falls. By day 1, I'd sweat through 3 t-shirts and accidentally offended a VP by calling his campfire story a little mid. It was shaping up to be a disaster. But then, something happened. On the second evening, we were split into groups for a values reflection challenge. Each team had to create a 5-minute skit representing the company's core mission. Yes, a skit. I was grouped with a few execs, 2 interns, and Gordon, who, for some reason, was assigned the role of Tree of Innovation. He took it very seriously. We were 5 minutes into awkward brainstorming when one of the interns, Maya, timidly suggested, "What if we told the story of the coffee rebellion? Like acted it out?" Everyone turned to me. I froze. "I mean," she continued, "it's kind of legendary now." Gordon shrugged. "Better than my idea involving sock puppets." And just like that, I was playing myself in a dramatization of my own accidental rise to office folklore. We performed it in front of a roaring fire. There were props. There were wigs. At one point, Gordon literally hissed like a possessed espresso machine. The crowd lost it. When it ended, people were cheering. Not just polite, HR-approved clapping, but full-on standing ovation from coworkers I hadn't even spoken to before. Later that night, back in my tent, I lay awake. It wasn't the applause. It was that look in Maya's eyes, the way she lit up telling a story that wasn't hers, but made her feel like she belonged. It hit me. This whole time, I thought I was coasting through chaos. Just reacting. Making jokes. Avoiding quarterly reports like landmines. But maybe, somehow, that was leadership. Next morning, Gordon pulled me aside. "You ever think about management?" I choked on my complimentary green juice. "Me? People listen to you. You've got something I can't teach." I stared at him. "You made the break room a place people actually like. That's a miracle, Jason." A month later, I was officially promoted. Not to some fancy VP thing, but to employee culture strategist. Which, let's be honest, is just a long way of saying, guy who gives a damn. I still don't have a corner office. I still wear mismatched socks. But now I get to tell stories. Real ones. From inside the cubicles. The lunch tables. The Slack threads gone rogue. Sometimes I look at the fridge and smile. It still has the Bill of Rights magnet on it. Ben keeps a backup lasagna in the freezer. Just in case. In the weeks that followed, things shifted. People started stopping by my desk, not to complain, not to gossip, but just to talk. About ideas. About the weirdness of office life. About how work didn't always have to be soul-sucking if you had a little fun with it. I found myself helping draft internal newsletters. Designing themed bulletin boards. Organizing a Bring Your Pet to Zoom day that somehow featured a snake named Carl and a very angry cat in a bow tie. One Friday, Gordon popped by unannounced. "Hey," he said. "You free for lunch?" We grabbed burgers from a food truck and sat on the curb, suits be damned. He told me he used to be a lot like me, scrappy, sarcastic, slightly terrified of upper management. "But at some point," he said, "I realized leadership isn't about control. It's about allowing weirdness. Encouraging people to be human." I nodded. "You've got that gift. Don't waste it." That night, I went home and updated my LinkedIn bio. Not with titles, but with this line. "I believe the coffee machine is sacred, the fridge deserves rights, and good stories can save morale." Weirdly, I started getting recruiter messages the next day. But I didn't reply. Not yet. Because for once, I didn't feel stuck at work. I felt in the right place. Not bad for the guy who killed Santa.